Several weeks ago, I purchased a mini PC that has a 12th gen i7 CPU. I have an unboxing video if you'd like to see that. A few people have seen it already, apparently even the company that sells the PC. Let me first start by saying that I haven't received any sponsorships. I can be brutally honest if I want to be. If anyone really wants to give me money, there's my Patreon set up, or ways through YouTube videos. The first thing is that you have to tame your expectations when you see it saying 12th gen i7. This isn't the 12700K that you put inside a full-size PC, along with a GPU and a 1000-watt power supply. This is a laptop CPU, so there's going to be some give and take. This CPU has 2 performance cores and 8 efficiency cores. There's no external GPU in this mini PC, so it will be using the integrated graphics card. This CPU is rated lower than many of its full-size counterparts. On Passmark, the 1255U scores 60% lower than the 12700K. On Cinebench, it received a multi-core score of 7813 and a single core score of 1563. Geekbench 6, I got scores of 6919 for multi-core and 2105 for single core. But still, for what you get, if you're not looking for raw CPU power, then this CPU might be of interest to you. It is similar to the other 12th gen CPUs with additional features, but uses less actual electricity. It's the equivalent of a full-sized i7 mini-me. It can get the job done, it just has some obvious limitations. I've been using it daily as a main PC, and not had any major issues. It's not shutting off randomly, there's no blue screens of death. I used the VESA mount it came with, and I have it mounted behind my monitor. I don't daily use 4 monitors like it says it can support, so I haven't tested that. I've used it to edit the 2 previous videos I released, along with this current one. I was able to get it to lag a little when I get to a section that has multiple video manipulations, transitions, text on screen, and music all being processed at once. But that's with me trying to max it out, and it seemed to be more of a limit of the available memory than the CPU. I know a lot of people want me to test some games on this, but I don't really play games that much. And I think you definitely need something like an external GPU for this, if you're going to do any serious type of gaming. I was able to play Minecraft on this, and with the right settings, you can max this thing out. So like any type of AAA games or anything like that, this probably won't do very well if you want high settings. When pushed, the fan cranks on and does a pretty good job at keeping the unit cool. When it's registering that it's heating up, it does also spin up a turbo sounding fan. I've tried pushing this, and I was able to get it above 80 degrees Celsius. But with basic usage all day, things like typing up the script of what I'm saying, while playing some music and having 3 tabs open on 2 different browsers, the temperature seems to average about 50 degrees Celsius. Let's see what we have inside. So first thing we're gonna do, just gonna take it, we're gonna flip it on its back. Looks like you got 4 screws here, so that's where we're gonna start. Just start taking these off. Remove the screw that is covered by this quality control sticker, which doesn't want to come off, so we're just gonna deal with that later. Make sure you pop these little screws and the rubber feet with them. Just set those aside. Looks like there's a little tab on the right. Kind of put your fingernail in there to get some leverage. Just pull this off, and we have a whole lot of electronics crammed inside this little box. You have 2 Kingston 8GB sticks of RAM. These are DDR4. You got 1 Fission M.2 SSD. Looks like a Wi-Fi card that sits in possibly an mSATA connector. So I'm just gonna pop these out. Set that aside. I'm not seeing any other screws holding anything down other than those other components that come out. So I'm not certain how this comes out.
A few moments later.
So it looks like you can actually just lift this whole thing up. I can fit a prying tool on the edges here, and the whole thing slides out. So the whole assembly is being held by those 4 mounting screws that have the feet.
A few minutes later.
So there's a ribbon cable on the right. This is connected to some component underneath, and I'm pretty sure it's not supposed to bend out like that. To be perfectly honest, it's such a tiny connector, I couldn't see it properly, so I might have broken the connector. Now, a smart person will also remove your SSD and the Wi-Fi card, just so while you're moving things around, you don't grab it, squeeze it, break it, snap it, anything like that. A smart person would do that. The Wi-Fi card has a plastic protector piece, so you want to make sure that you keep that with the screw. And there's also 2 wires that attach it to down below into the top of the unit for better reception.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
So we got it out, flip it over, and now you see that giant turbo fan. And that huge radiator. This thing has a huge radiator on it. We're just gonna pop off this fan. Let's see what else we can see underneath it. I'm not gonna go totally tear this down because I do like using it. It's actually been pretty useful. Now this thing has a huge copper heat pipe. You can see it going off to that radiator on the right hand side. It looks like there's a couple screws that remove this bracket, and that ribbon cable over here, you can see it down below. There's your Wi-Fi cable here. Looks like the top is just held with these plastic clips. But down below, this ribbon cable is actually attached to the microphone unit. There's supposed to be 2 microphones at the front. When I did testing, it was kind of off and on, not the best anyways, so maybe we didn't lose anything too important. It seems like it's fused to the copper heat pipe, which is then fused to that mount on the bottom, which I'm assuming is making direct contact with the CPU. So I'm not gonna take this any further out because I actually like how this thing is working and I want to keep using it. Already possibly broken one thing already. So we're just gonna put it back. I'm pretty impressed with how this thing works. It's consistent. We're just gonna take some time fitting it back in.
Much later.
This is a little pain to put back in. I know that there's some little nuances that they don't talk about because I couldn't find any videos about this. So you gotta make sure that the ribbon cable for the microphone is okay out of the way. You gotta make sure that the 2 wires for the Wi-Fi are in that specific little groove notch that's there. And then you can't get it to really close. Also want to make sure you clean out any debris you left over, like that broken connector piece for the microphone. I was able to get it to go inside and set properly. We're gonna go back and assemble the Wi-Fi card. Just kind of slot it into that SATA slot. It connects the same way as a SSD. Just kind of put it in at an angle. Put the cover back on. Put the retaining screw on. Hold it down, screw it down. Next we're going to do the SSD. Just remount that, put it in an angle, then secure it with the screw. Now I'm not going to put the stock RAM back in. I'm going to put in a 32 gigabyte kit from Crucial. The only issue is currently that kit is being used inside a laptop. So I'm going to pop that out real quick, and then we're just going to swap it. We're going to put the Kingston 16 inside this HP, and we're going to take the Crucial out of the HP, put inside this. Why does a HP laptop have 32 gigabytes of RAM? Because I could. It says that it could take it. It's spec'd for only 16. It also says that it could take 32, so I tried it and it worked. But I think it's going to be more useful inside the mini PC. little unscrew, a little prying. And we get her open. Just gonna swap them out. We got the crucial here. Put the Kingston back in this one. Put it all back together. When you put this base back on, you're gonna make sure that you line up this Kingston, the square, with the Kingston lock here on the side. That's how you know which side goes where. And then just screw the feet back in. It's actually pretty easy to maintenance this. It's 4 Phillips head screws. No prying, nothing, no elastic to take off, no rubber to peel. It's much easier than a few other PCs I've worked on. This is optional, but these little feet here go for the VESA mount. I mount it onto the VESA mount behind my monitor. So we're just gonna screw those back in. And we're gonna test it to see if it works. And hey, we got Windows works. Didn't break anything too much, hopefully. Because this is a lower energy usage CPU designed for like laptops, that lower energy usage is actually what I'm looking for. I primarily want to use this PC as my daily catch-all PC. I want to have Jarvis installed and able to access everything on it. Basically, the cheap little mini PC that he was running on, it's just getting to the point that it can't handle the tasks that I want it to run. Just for comparison, here is his previous mini PC stats. But compared to this one, it's definitely a huge upgrade. So what do you think? Should I try and download some games on this? Should I do any other type of testing? Is there anything else that you want to know about it? Let me know in the comments below. And thank you for watching. Until next time, bye.